God. Oh my God. That's the age we've got to, Holly.
It is the age we've got to. Cheers.
When I moved to Brighton, one of my friends said, "What do you do in the winter in Brighton?"
What did you say? This.
I'm just about to find out.
We sit on the beach with the hot chocolate.
Yeah, sit on the beach with the hot chocolate. That's why I moved here. I want to look at the beach.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Shall we search everyone? See.
Nah, just let them imagine. I daren't move that camera.
No, you don't want to. Okay,
Don't
fair
want
enough.
that camera.
Fine.
Right, so
then we're going to introduce each other.
we're going to introduce each other. This is my good friend Holly Skinner. Holly is a personal trainer by history. That's
By
by
history,
By
yeah.
history.
By about 25 years of history.
And a rather excellent personal trainer at that, I have to say. She is now also a menopause coach and nutrition specialist.
Yeah.
Nutritionist. There you go. I have regular conversations where I go, "Holly, I don't know what to do about this." And I have to ask Holly.
As do I. I'm like that. My shoulder's a mess. What do I do? Yeah. Okay. This is my lovely friend Marina. Marina is. Now, I don't like. We had this conversation the other day.
We did.
I don't like using the phrase saying, "Oh, you're a massage therapist," because that does not justify what you do. You are, and we came up with the term clinical massage therapist because you do diagnostic work where you assess and treat, rather than your piddly, but beauty therapist massage. So yeah, and she fixed my shoulder.
Hey. So I'm gonna tweak a couple of things you said there, Holly. I just want to say we didn't coin the phrase clinical massage therapy, but what we did say was, Marina, that's how you need to sell yourself.
Yeah.
And yes, I use diagnostic tools. I use my clinical reasoning to allow me to come to a conclusion rather than a diagnosis. If I want an affirmative diagnosis, I would have to send you to somewhere where they have things like ultrasound, MRI.
No, okay, fair enough. Yeah, makes sense.
But I
Yeah.
love what you said. It's great.
Well, you know. So that's us. And we're going to talk about.
We're going to talk about various things. Some days we're going to talk about what Holly does. Some days we're going to talk about what I do.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is a whole new chapter in our social media lifestyle careers,
Yes.
whereby we're going to bring some informative conversations
Conversation. That's it. It's
Conversation.
Conversation. Yeah.
to you guys, our public.
Yeah.
Cheers, Holly.
Cheers. The aches and pain.
Yes, the aches and pains. Funny you should mention aches and pains, Holly.
Yes.
I remember when I first started my perimenopausal journey,
Yeah.
I felt, so here's some of the things that I experienced. Random pains throughout my body.
Joint
Joint
pain or
pain.
just muscle pain.
Bit of both, I would say. My elbows, I suddenly felt like quite vulnerable.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, if I train tonight, I feel like I'm going to snap.
Yeah.
Something's going to break.
Yeah. You feel like you're right on the edge. Yeah, for sure.
And that felt, and for somebody who's always been quite fit and strong and independent, that felt awful.
Yeah, it's not a nice feeling.
No.
It's a worrying feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Sure.
that something that lots of your menopause or perimenopause clients talk to you about?
Yes,
It's a
it
common
is.
thing.
It is a really common thing, and it sort of comes alongside with that real overwhelming fatigue and just tiredness that you can't shake off, and all of those things sort of come together, and it kind of almost depletes you a little bit of your confidence, like you say, of stepping into the gym and being able to train without monitoring yourself all the time. So yeah, it's quite a common one.
I remember that I had things like, exactly what you just said, Holly. I was tired all the time, but I would go to sleep quite easily, but then I would wake up at 3 a.m. and be wide awake.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't get back off again until like 6 or 7, and then I'd be due up at 7:30.
Yeah. And that's horrible. That's like a really, really bad way to start your day. And that's when you get in that horrible vicious cycle, where you just get that kind of tired but wired feeling. You're like, I'm exhausted. And you're having that kind of wake up where your cortisol's coming up that time in the morning. That's what tends to happen. You get pulled out of sleep and then you can't get back in again. And you get that exhaustion. That's when we resort to things like too much coffee, those kind of things.
And we start on that negative spiral. I have to say as well, I've heard it quite common thing is you hear lots of perimenopausal people or women saying, I've put on weight at this point in my life and I now can't lose it.
Yeah.
And I remember trying to get hold of my weight at that point when I was still in a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
And I think that was a massive expectation on myself. I couldn't even function, let alone could I.
I know, you put an extra pressure on yourself with going, well, now I've just got to lose all the weight. Which, yeah, our perspective has to change at that point of how we approach those kind of things. It's
The new phase of life.
Yeah, the new phase of life needs to be a lot more about nurturing our bodies and listening to our bodies than it is about the sort of, exchanging exercise for calories and burning calories and training. Training should be exhilarating, not exhausting. And we don't want to equate those two things, exercise and calories. Yeah, it's about looking after ourselves and keeping those stress hormones down, eating in a way that supports those kind of our health through those symptoms, and exercising in the right way, which does change. And that shift of perspective can be really tricky for someone.
I think the thing that I personally experienced as well is the fact that, if I'm correct, Holly, a lot of the symptoms for perimenopause, menopause, they're quite broad. It's a broad spectrum of symptoms that not everybody experiences the same ones. We may have some things in common, but we may have some different things.
Yeah.
And I think that it was hard then to, if you're anything like me, I kind of went, oh my God, I've got fibromyalgia. Oh my God, no, I haven't. I've got chronic fatigue. Oh my God.
I'm suffering from some type of depression. That's the other one that you get.
All of those things. And I think it's quite hard to definitively discover.
Yeah.
Now, I personally found it helpful to go on HRT.
Yeah.
Now, the common thing that gets asked of me in my treatment room is, but isn't there a huge risk of, or a huge increased risk of cancer if I take my HRT?
There was a study a long time ago that was a poorly done study that came out with these kind of results, and it was a lie. The whole thing was not true. It was the way that it was portrayed in the media that scared women into thinking that if they took HRT, they were going to get breast cancer. And actually, we now know that is not the case at all. Yes, if you are at an increased risk of breast cancer or clots, it's definitely a conversation that you have with your doctor about in terms of taking HRT. But if you don't have an increased risk of that, you are, the normal population, then there's not really any reason not to, unless it doesn't suit you, and also in terms of things like supporting bone density and muscle mass and sleep quality and, keeping those symptoms to a minimum, we are actually more likely to die from a hip fracture than we are from cancer.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting statistic.
Yeah. And you think of it in terms of, okay, I need to go and train. I want to keep my bones nice and strong and healthy. Well, I need something to support me to do that. And HRT mistakenly is called a medication. People think of a medication. It's not. You are replacing a natural hormone in your body.
Okay, but if I've started that stage of my life, Holly, where my body's decided that I'm perimenopausal now, am I not supposed to just accept? I mean, look, my decision to take HRT was based on, I didn't know anything about the statistics. I had heard this idea about the possibility of increased risk of cancer. I wasn't entirely convinced by it, but my train of thought was, I'm still working, I'm still enjoying my life, I'm still building a business, and I need to actually be able to function.
Yeah.
So that's why I went on HRT. But my question is, if this is a natural part of life that we enter this phase and everything changes, are we then not supposed to just kind of go, well, this is what my body's supposed to be doing at this point? Are we delaying? Well, I suppose what I'm trying to ask is, by taking HRT, are we delaying something that should be happening?
No.
That is inevitable?
No.
Why not?
No, we're not. Because taking HRT doesn't prevent you from going through the menopause. You don't stop anything from happening. You are still going to go through that process. Nothing will change. This is just purely to support you to have the right hormones in your body to be able to go through that process smoothly without feelings of exhaustion and hot flushes and depression and
The
terrible joints. The risk of hip fractures. So it supports you to be able to do the lifestyle stuff that is so important whilst we're going through that phase.
So, from a massage perspective, from a musculoskeletal perspective, and I can't remember the exact figures on this, but we know factually that from a certain age, which I think is about 40, we lose a very certain amount of muscle mass every year thereafter, right?
Yep.
Now, the way to manage and maintain that is obviously to do exercise, to stay healthy, do exercise, to support that muscle mass.
Yep.
Commonly what happens when you lose muscle mass, the structures, the skeletal structures stuff up and you start getting, all kinds of issues, rotator cuff issues commonly, frozen shoulders, all that sort of thing, particularly in women, right, of a certain age and all that sort of thing. So we know that we should be supporting ourselves with exercise. We should be staying fit. We should be trying to maintain the muscle mass that we have.
Absolutely.
And if we're wandering around in this sort of perimenopausal phase where we haven't slept, we haven't got a clue what colour our knickers are today or where they are, never mind go and exercise.
Christ. I get most of my steps in walking around the house looking for my glasses.
Oh my God, Holly, I can remember teaching kickboxing, and I literally said the word punch bag 2 minutes ago, and I'd be like, right, girls, line up in front of the that thing at the back, that thing hanging up. You mean the punch bag? Yes,
Yes, that's what I mean.
yes. I thought for many years, because my granddad had Alzheimer's, so I just thought, oh God, I've got early onset Alzheimer's. I thought that for a long time.
Yeah. And a lot of women do think that. They do think that you get the brain fog and you start forgetting words.
You pick up your phone. You pick up your phone to do something you do on a daily basis, and you go, "How do I get where? What? How do I?" What is this thing again?
Yeah, it's very true. But honestly, it's not. That's the thing. We obviously are trying to prevent the onset of those things as much as possible. But because we're having a little bit of a recalibration of our brain while we go through the menopause, those things do start to happen. And it's scary. It's scary that, the basic simple things like remembering a word can, it can go. So, but it doesn't mean that it's like an onset of.
No.
That's the only thing.
I think the common thing I hear actually that I see a lot of in the internet is you walk into a room and you forget why you've gone in there.
Oh, 100%.
That is my daily life. Daily battle. Why am I here?
Yeah. Did you see my post the other day where I had both pairs of glasses, one on my face?
Oh, that's stunning. Who are you?
Why are we here?
Don't know. What were we talking about?
The menopause.
Oh!
That's cool.
There's bird poo everywhere, Holly. I know there's bird poo everywhere. Right now we're filming your bum.
Oh, no, where's the camera?
That's great, Holly. What are we doing there?
You've got my hat on.
Why am I
I'm driving. Good.